Okay, so hello.
Yes.
We are the A team from Alfa, a mobile leading operator in Lebanon. We have chosen as part of the Young SDGs Innovator program to work on e-waste collection and treatment. Okay, so let me first introduce you to our team member, Nadim Malouf from the VAS department, Patrice Rashwan from the radio engineering, Fuad Mahsin from the enterprise applications, and myself, Samar Hussein from the commercial support department. So first, in 2018, Alpha were the pioneers in Lebanon and launched an initiative to treat e-waste in collaboration with Ericsson and the Ministry of Telecommunication in Lebanon. They collected, packed, and shipped more than 35 containers of e-waste to Sweden for recycling at the highest standards. And this was a part of Alpha for Nature program and in line with the sustainable development goals to reduce pollution. So this initiative inspired us to look at something similar with no proper treatment, the e-waste resulting from old or damaged phones, which have hazardous effect if not treated properly. So let's look at some figures. 50 million of tons of e-waste are generated per year worldwide, and more than 3.6 million of old and a million tons of old and damaged. Sorry, 3.6 million of old and damaged phone only from Lebanon, and making up to 600 ton of e-waste. And after the 2G sunset on our network, on Alpha's network in 2022, more than 110K phones will become obsolete and useless on our network. So in our solution, we will start by collecting phones and sending them for proper treatment, whether recycling, repairing those phones, or maybe reusing them. And a part of the generated amount income will be used for the phone givers, and the other part will be used for a goodwill. So imagine 6,000 phones can make up 1 ton of e-waste, and 1 ton of e-waste is split up to more than 85% of silver, 8% of gold, 4% of palladium, and much more. So, and our solution will be targeting the following SDGs: 9, the industry, innovation, and infrastructure; 11, the sustainable cities and communities; and 12, the responsible consumption and production. Patrice, I will leave the floor for you.
Yes. So in order to get the maximum outcome from our solution, we will raise awareness campaigns, collaborate with our partners in order to treat the e-waste properly for a clean environment. As a prototype, we've conducted a survey. 109 people were reached. They have more than 227 old phones. 22% of them are willing to give their phones for nothing in return. And unfortunately, only 32% are not aware about the harm of e-waste. So now we are starting with the old phones, but next we are willing to move to all kinds of electronics, use the spare parts coming from these phones in the repair shops, or donate the reusable phones to people in need. As a summary on our business model, our partners will be the recycling companies, municipalities, malls, and supermarkets to collect the handsets. We will give them to handset manufacturers and collaborate with NGOs to give the phones to people in need. The main activities will be to collect the e-waste, deliver them to our partners, and reward our customers. Of course, our solution is in line with Alpha values, which are to achieve the 2030 agenda, save our ecosystem, and consume responsibly. The solution will build transactional relationships with the phone owners and communities and people in need. So the main resources we need are the partners, the collection points, logistics, and communication team from Alpha. And we will use all our available channels, which are, of course, our point of sales, the banners, billboards, all we can use for advertising. The main cost will be in logistics, human resources, collection, transportation costs, and last, the rewarding cost and goodwill actions. And the main revenue will come from selling the phones to the third party. If we move to the financial figures, we are expecting in year one to be using the 60 point of sales we have at Alpha. We will be collecting 1,000 phones and get an income of 15,000 USD as a first year. It will be distributed between rewarding the customers by having a free bundle, data bundle, or something like that, and for goodwill and additional income for Alfa. In year 2, we will have the 2G technology turned off at Alfa, so 110K phones will become useless, and we will become candidate for recycling. And you can check the figures for the income, which will be increasing year by year. So as the project phases, now we are in the RFP phase. We have contacted many suppliers and we are waiting for their feedback. We got 2 positive feedbacks. As a summary, our idea was born. We did our research to see how other mobile operators are dealing with the e-waste. We conducted the survey and the results were promising. Now the RFP phase. Next, we will build our prototype, which is to put boxes in our point of sales and see how people are interested in dropping their phones in these boxes. Next, we will build the process with our partners and move to budgeting, ROI estimation, and finally develop our solution. So that's it from our side. If you have any questions, we are ready to answer.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being in timing and even in advance with the timing, because only now I should say 1 minute left. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you, team, so much. Now is the time for juries, and this is now their 7.5 minutes part. Dear experts, let's start from clarifying questions first, if any, of course, and then pass to advisors part. So if there are any clarifying questions.
Hi, well done. That was a great presentation. I guess I do have a clarifying question. So this type of e-waste collection and treatment does not currently happen in Lebanon, correct? Or does it? And does it happen with any other mobile phone company within Lebanon?
Actually, there's a few companies treating waste here, like Verdetech, and they are responsible of shipping for free the waste from Lebanon, but they are working on without awareness and with few waste here generating from companies. So that's why Alfa, our company, used to collaborate with Ericsson to ship those waste to Sweden. There's no awareness here, and there's no a lot of companies that treat e-waste. That's why we are taking this initiative in our project and our solution. Yes.
Thank you. Are there any other clarifying questions?
Yes, I have another question, if I may, Pablo. Again, very inspiring presentation. Thank you for that. Question I have is, whose idea was this, and did you meet any resistance in your organization to get it done, to get the budget, to get the resources you need?
We came up with the idea, all of us as a team. No, we didn't have any resistance because Alfa was a pioneer since 2018 and this kind of e-waste. So they were very collaborative. But our challenge here is only to be able to find a partner with us to be able to get our solution done. But hopefully we will get somebody to collaborate with us.
Just knowing that Lebanon is now in the middle of a big economic crisis now, and this is a big challenge for us here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I can come in with a final question, perhaps. Again, great presentation, super solid. I think one point which I wanted to clarify was around the reused material that you generate from the e-waste, and what sort of market potential there is for those sort of recycled and reusable products, and whether you have any clarifying points to share on that.
Patrice, can you answer?
Yes. As you mentioned in our presentation, now we are only willing to collaborate with somebody who is expert in this domain, because we want somebody expert to treat them properly, because as you saw, we have silver, gold, and many precious materials that can be expensive and reusable. And in our next stage, we are willing to have our own repair shops. Maybe we'll have our own collection of spare parts. But now, for the time being, because there is no available budget for now, we will collaborate with somebody which is expert in this domain before moving to next steps.
Thank you so much. Maybe any advices from you, dear experts, to the team on how the project can be improved, can be stronger?
Yes. I just had a few points to make. I think it's important that when you're thinking about your partners, you have to think about what it is that they're doing towards the SDGs. You don't just connect with any partner. You have to connect with a partner who also wants to have an impact against the SDGs, just as Alfa wants to. Otherwise, your partnership doesn't make any sense. And then I also want you to think about the actual transportation and how that is having an impact on the SDGs as well. Are there any emissions that you're going to be releasing? What kind of impact against, some of the other SDGs around the environment are you going to be having an impact on if you're always constantly shipping things back and forth? So you really have to think about the logistics in connection to the SDGs and just making sure that it all aligns. So you're sustainable on every front, if that makes sense. So sustainable in terms of your transport, sustainable in terms of the partners that you partner with, and also sustainable in terms of just kind of really how you're breaking down the phones and how you're distributing them again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There's another point I'd like to make. The partnership was mentioned a number of times, and building on what Cynthia just said, I think making the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, explicit is a hugely important point. You mentioned 9, 11, and 12. You may want to add 17, the partnerships, because I think cooperation with other companies and other institutions will be crucial to really double down and increase the volume. So 17, I would add. The question I would have also is, to what extent can you put pressure on the OEMs, the manufacturers of the mobile phones, to encourage them to change the design of the mobile phone so that the recycling or reuse or using modules within the phone is becoming easier? Because recycling the metals is obviously one thing, but if you can reuse the entire camera or the entire battery or other parts of the mobile phone, then your business model will be a lot more favorable. So what can you do? How can you engage with the OEMs to make sure that you don't just recycle the metals and the materials, but to make sure that the phones are increasingly built in a modular way, and therefore improve the business model?
Yes, we first targeted the recycling companies, but when we saw that they are more interested about the weight of the e-waste, we next contacted the handset manufacturers. So now we have many channels open with everyone from us, and thank you for raising this idea, because yes, it should be raised with the handset manufacturers, because a better reuse from their side will reduce the e-waste. So yes, we will make sure to share this with them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Maybe some other questions, advices. We do have time.
Yeah, just from my side, I just wanted to say that, the judges have shared some great advice so far, and they're definitely just hammering home that last point from Hans, just about kind of thinking about the components themselves and trying to increase the life cycle of each one, so that they're not only useful to these kind of e-waste partners who you might be in touch with, but also useful to yourselves as well, in creating kind of more durable products with a longer life cycle.
And maybe one final point, if I may. I was genuinely impressed with the team spirit, the quality of the presentation, the initiative as such. It was numbers-based, fact-based. As a former consultant, I like that. It wasn't just aspirational, but you had very clear targets and a path towards growth. So hats off, and I hope to see you again in 5 or 10 years from now when this company is massive.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I hope
Thank
so.
you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.